Hello, I'm going to be reading this book today. I might not finish it all, but I might do a few more videos to finish it. So I'm just going to get started. Okay, I'm starting. Chapter 1, The L Word. My name is AJ and I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. That's right, I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I'm not ashamed to say it out loud. Right in the middle of the Vomitorium. I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a cafeteria. What? Shouted Michael, who never ties his shoes. AJ, did you just say the L word? AJ said the L word, shouted Brian, who will eat anything, even stuff that isn't food. AJ said the L word, shouted Nell, who we call the nude kid even though he wears clothes. AJ said the L word, shouted Alexa, this girl who rides a skateboard all the time. Everybody was staring at me like I had just grown a third eyebrow in the middle of my head. They all looked like they were gonna faint. Big deal, I said. I love skateboarding. I love playing football. I love my parents. I love pizza. I think that's just wonderful, Arlo, said Adria Young, this annoying girl with curly brown hair. She calls me by my real name because she knows I don't like it. It's good to talk about the things you love. I love school. I love singing and dancing and reading and Shakespeare and learning new things and getting good grades. And I forgot to show pictures, so I'm just not going to show them. Also, there aren't that many in here, pretty sure. So let me just continue reading. Ooh, Ryan said. AJ and Andrea are talking about the things they love. They must be in love. When are you going to get married, said Michael. The truth is, I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches because they are awesome. I love peanut butter, I love jelly. When you put peanut butter and jelly together, they're even more awesome than they were in separate jars. Saying the word love out loud means we are becoming more mature, Arlo, said Andrea. I'm so glad to hear that you're turning over a new leaf. What? I didn't turn any leaves over. What do leaves have to do with anything? And why would anybody bother turning over a leaf? Leaves are pretty much the same on both sides, so it's a waste of time to turn them over. Why can't a truck full of leaves fall on Andrea's head? So many mess-ups in this video. I know there are going to be lots. So, yeah. Also, I'm only on chapter 2. Chapter 2, STEM. I go to elementary school. It was named after a rich lady named Elementary, so it has the perfect name. Elementary school. Mrs. Mentry used to be a teacher at our school a long time ago when dinosaurs walked the earth. After she retired, she donated $1 million to the school. Mrs. Mentry is really old now and walks with a cane. She still lives in the neighborhood, so if she forgets her name, she can just walk over to our school and see it on the sign. One time she came to visit, and a food fight broke out in the cafeteria. That was weird. But last week, the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. Our teacher, Mr. Cooper, came running into our classroom. Well, that's not the weird part. Mr. Cooper comes running into our classroom every day. The weird part was what happened next. A meteorite crashed through the window and smashed into the whiteboard in a giant fireball and knocked Mr. Cooper onto the floor. Okay, that didn't really happen, but I thought it would be more interesting than saying Mr. Cooper tripped over his shoelaces. That's what actually happened. Mr. Cooper thinks he's a superhero, which is why he wears a cape all the time. Only superheroes wear capes. That is not true. Nobody knows why, but that's the first rule of being a superhero. Your mom and dad could be a superhero to you, and they don't wear capes every day. I'm okay, Mr. Cooper said, jumping onto his feet. Let's start our day, shall we? Turn the page to 23 in your math books. Ugh, I hate math. Why do we have to study math? Isn't that why Benjamin Franklin invented the calculator? Luckily, we didn't have to do math because at that moment, an announcement came over the loudspeaker. I don't know why I laughed just then. All classes, please report to the all-purpose room for a surprise assembly. Ooh, surprise assemblies have the perfect name because you never know what's going to happen there. It's like opening up your birthday presents. Not again, groaned Mr. Cooper. Okay, Pringle up, everybody. We lined up like Pringles and walked 1,100,000 miles to the all-purpose room, which we call the all-purpose room, even though there are no dolphins in there. I don't get it. Okay, next page. We had to sit boy, girl to make sure that we wouldn't talk to anybody we liked. I had to sit next to Little Miss Know-It-All, Andrea, and her crybaby friend, Emily. Ugh, disgusting. Everybody sat down. Mr. Cooper told us to sit up straight, so we had to sit down and sit up at the same time. That was weird. I couldn't wait for the big surprise. We were all glued to our seats. Well, not really. That would be weird. Why would anybody glue themselves to a seat? How would you get the glue off your pants? You'll never believe who walked out on the stage at that moment. You probably think it's our principal, Mr. Klutz, but it wasn't. So na-boo-boo on you. It was our science teacher, Mr. Docker. He's weird. Mr. Docker has a car that runs on potatoes. You can read about it in a book called Mr. Docker is Off His Rocker. That's a different book that you can read. But not now. Good morning, elementary students, Mr. Docker said. Do you kids know what STEM stands for? Sweet tomato elbow macaroni, somebody shouted. Sleeping turtles exit Maryland. Smart telephones eliminate money. Stop trying to eat monsters. No, said Mr. Docker. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. Oh, I have good news and bad news for you, Mr. Docker told us. The bad news is that our school's STEM scores are way down from last year. So I got permission from Mr. Klutz to bring my old college roommate to help us with STEM, the world-famous scientist, Dr. Melvin Snow. Okay, so I know I said I wouldn't be showing pictures, but this one is absolutely crazy. Look at the hair. Okay, continue. Please give him a round of applause, Dr. Snow. Come out here. We all clapped our hands in a circle. Which is that what you're supposed to? Which is what you're supposed to do in anytime somebody gets introduced. Nobody knows why. Why was that so hard to read? I need to start reading again. Dr. Snow came out from behind the stage. He had really frizzy hair and a weird look in his eyes. Snowman, said Mr. Docker, as he hugged Dr. Snow. I guess that's Dr. Snow's nickname. That snowman guy looks crazy, I whispered to Andrea. What makes you think that? She replied. I literally can't read. Look at his wild, frizzy hair, I told her. Anybody who has wild, frizzy hair must be crazy. You shouldn't judge people by the way hair looks, Arlo, Andrea told me. You just... I don't know how to pronounce that. Stereotyping, Dr. Snow. How can you type on a stereo? Arlo was beginning to think you had matured, Andrea told me. Oh, Arlo, I was beginning to think you had matured, Andrea told me. But I guess I was wrong. When are you gonna grow up? In about 10 years, I told her. Then when are you gonna grow down? Andrea rolled her eyes. I knew I won the argument. At that point, the weirdest thing in the history of the world happened. The snowman took a balloon out of his pocket and blew it up. Then he tied a knot at the end. Watch this, he said. If I rub this balloon against my head, it will stick to the wall. Your head will stick to the wall? I asked. Not my head, he replied. I'm going to stick the balloon to the wall. Oh, that's different. The snowman rubbed the balloon against his frizzy hair. Then he put the balloon against the wall. And you know what? It stuck. Just like that. He said it would. Just like he said it would. Everybody went, wow, which is mom upside down. It's not, if you actually type it and turn it upside down, then it's not the same thing. Rubbing the balloon against my hair added electrons from the surface of the balloon, said the snowman. So the wall was more positively charged in the balloon. That's science. Does anybody have a question for Dr. Snow? Asked Mr. Docker. Mr. Docker, I cannot pronounce that. Yeah, I said, why would anybody want to stick a balloon to the wall? For the fun of it, replied the snowman. Science is fun. Any other questions? Asked Mr. Docker. Finally, I got it right. Andrea waved her hand in the air like she was washing a big window with a rag. So, of course, she got called on. You said you had good news and bad news, said Andrea, but you only told us the bad news. What's the good news? Oh, yes, I almost forgot, said Mr. Docker. The good news is that elementary school is going to have a fair. A fair? I love fairs. Yay, everybody shouted. Fairs are cool. You get to play games and eat cotton candy and go on rides and win stuffed animals, and we're going to have a science fair, said the snowman. What? This has gotten up to 13 minutes, so I think I'm just going to stop here. I'm on a chapter, so I'm going to start off from the chapter and on my next video, so bye!